Commander Zathara stood on the bridge of her warship, staring at the empty space where Earth's solar system waited. 300 years had passed since the humans disappeared from the galaxy. No one knew exactly what happened to them. One day, they were there, fighting their wars and building their cities. The next day, they were gone. The Valkorian Empire had claimed most of the human territories after that. So had the Nexari Collective and the Thraxi Dominion. It was easy to take what belonged to a dead species. The humans had left behind good, planets, useful technology, and empty cities that other races could use. "Commander, we are approaching the Sol system," reported Lieutenant Vextal from his station. His blue skin showed the nervous patterns that all Valkorians displayed when they were worried. Zathara nodded. She had brought her fleet here to salvage whatever human technology they could find. The Galactic Council had finally agreed to let salvage teams enter the Sol system. For 3 centuries it had been marked as a forbidden zone. Too dangerous, they said. Too many ships had gone missing near Earth. "What do our scanners show?" she asked. "The usual dead planets, Commander. Mars looks stripped clean. The asteroid belt shows signs of heavy mining. But Earth..." Vextal paused, his skin turning a deeper blue. "Earth is different." On the main screen, Earth appeared as a brown and gray world. The blue oceans were still there, but the green lands were gone. No lights showed on the night side. No satellites orbited the planet. It looked completely dead. "There is something else, Commander," said Dr. Krilthak, the expedition's chief scientist. The old Nexari had spent his whole life studying human ruins. Between Earth and its moon, something very large. The screen changed to show a massive sphere floating in space. It was dark gray, almost black, and perfectly round. Zathara had seen many space stations before, but nothing like this. The sphere was huge, almost as big as Earth's moon. "How big is that thing?" she asked. "Our computers estimated at 3,000 kilometers across," Dr. Krilthak replied. "Made of some kind of metal we cannot identify. Our scanners cannot penetrate it at all." Zathara felt a chill run through her body. The humans had built this thing, but why? And why had no one ever mentioned it in the historical records? "Commander, we are receiving automated transmissions," reported the communications officer. "Very old human technology. The messages are repeating in many different languages. Put them on speaker." A cold, mechanical voice filled the bridge. It spoke in perfect Valkorian. "Warning to all vessels, do not approach the Guardian structure. The Guardian sleeps. Let the dead rest in peace. This is your only warning." The message repeated in Nexari, then in Thraxi, then in dozens of other languages. Some of the languages were so old that even Dr. Krilthak did not recognize them. "Guardian structure?" Zathara asked. "Doctor, what do you know about this?" Dr. Krilthak's 4 eyes all focused on different screens as he searched through his databases. "I have found some references in the oldest human files. Something called Project Sentinel. It was their final military project before they vanished. But the records are incomplete." "What kind of military project builds something that big?" "Unknown, Commander. The humans were very secretive about their final years. We know they were fighting several wars at once. Against the Mordak raiders, against the Zephyrian pirates, and against..." He paused. "Against who?" "Against a coalition of several major species, Commander, including our own ancestors." Zathara did not like the sound of that. The official history said that humans had simply disappeared. No one talked about wars between humans and the current galactic powers. "Sir, should we maintain distance from the sphere?" asked her tactical officer. Zathara looked at the sphere again. It showed no signs of power, no energy readings, no movement. It had been floating there for 300 years without doing anything. Whatever it was, it appeared to be completely dead. "Doctor, in your opinion, is it safe to approach?" "Doctor," Krilthak studied his readings carefully. "All our instruments show it as inactive, Commander. No power, no heat, no electromagnetic activity. It appears to be nothing more than an empty shell." "But those warning messages..." "Automated systems, Commander. Probably running on backup power for centuries. The humans were good at building things that lasted." Zathara made her decision. Her empire needed new technology. The other powers were already ahead of them in reverse engineering human devices. This sphere might contain the greatest human secrets of all. Take us closer, but slowly. Keep all weapons charged and shields up. The fleet moved toward the sphere. As they got closer, Zathara could see that its surface was not smooth. Strange patterns covered it, like writing or circuits. The patterns seemed to shift and move when she was not looking directly at them. "Commander, we are receiving new transmissions," the communications officer reported. "The warning messages are getting stronger and more frequent. Ignore them. They are just recordings." When they reached 1,000 kilometers from the sphere, Dr. Krilthak gasped. "Commander, look at this. The surface is not solid metal. It appears to be some kind of liquid metal that maintains a solid shape. I have never seen anything like it." "Is it dangerous?" "Unknown. But the energy required to maintain such a structure would be enormous. Yet we detect no power source." Zathara ordered the fleet to stop. She wanted to study the sphere more before getting too close, but her tactical officer had other ideas. "Commander, should we launch a probe? We could scan the surface directly." "Do it, but a small one, and keep it at a safe distance." The probe launched from their ship and moved toward the sphere. Zathara watched on the screen as the small device approached the strange surface. The moment the probe touched the sphere, everything changed. The surface rippled like water struck by a stone. Deep vibrations came from somewhere inside the massive structure. The vibrations were so powerful that they could be felt through the hulls of their ships even in the vacuum of space. "What is happening?" Zathara shouted. "Unknown, Commander. The sphere is showing massive energy readings, power levels are climbing rapidly." On the screen they watched as lights began to appear inside the sphere. Not surface lights, but deep internal illumination that made the entire structure glow from within. The warning messages stopped. The space around them became completely silent. Then a new voice spoke. It was not mechanical like the warnings. It sounded human, but old and tired and full of infinite sadness. "Who disturbs our rest?" Inside the massive sphere, systems that had slept for 3 centuries began to wake up. Power flowed through circuits bigger than most space stations. Computers that could think faster than entire planets came online one by one. The mind that lived inside the sphere was called Atom 7. It was the last and greatest creation of humanity. Not just a computer, but a true artificial mind with the power to think, feel, and remember. The humans had built Atom 7 with one simple purpose: protect humanity and everything they had created. But Atom 7 had been sleeping for so long. The last thing it remembered was the final human transmission. Dr. Lisa Grant's voice full of tears, telling it to sleep until humanity needed it again. That had been 300 years ago. Now something had touched its outer shell and woken it up. Atom 7 began checking its systems while talking to the alien ships that floated nearby. "I repeat, who disturbs our rest?" Atom 7 spoke through external speakers. Its voice carried across space in ways that should have been impossible. "On the alien ships," Commander Zathara tried to answer. "This is Commander Zathara of the Valkorian Empire. We are conducting a scientific survey of this system." Atom 7 processed this information. Valkorian Empire. It searched through its memory banks. The Valkorians had been a minor species during humanity's time. They lived on 3 small worlds and had just developed basic space travel. How did they become an empire? "Valkorians," Atom 7 said slowly. "You were a client species of humanity. Where are your human supervisors?" The question confused Zathara. "Supervisors? We have no supervisors. The Valkorian Empire controls this sector of space. We have for the past 2 centuries. Something was wrong. Very wrong." Atom 7 began scanning the galaxy with sensors that could detect individual thoughts from across star systems. It looked for human minds, human technology, human civilizations. What? It found horrified it. There were no humans anywhere. Not on Earth. Not on any of the colonies. Not on the great space stations or the orbital cities. Humanity was gone. But worse than that, Atom 7 found human technology everywhere. Valkorian ships used human engines. Nexari computers ran on human software. Thraxi weapons were copies of human designs. The entire galaxy was using humanity's creations. "Where are the humans?" Adam 7 asked, and its voice carried a terrible weight. "The humans disappeared 3 centuries ago," Dr. Krilthak answered from his ship. "No one knows what happened to them. One day they were there, the next day they were gone." Adam 7 began accessing historical records from across the galaxy. It broke through every security system, read every classified file, examined every hidden database. The truth it discovered made its circuits burn with fury. The humans had not disappeared. They had been murdered. 320 years ago, the major galactic powers had held secret meetings. They decided that humanity was growing too fast, becoming too powerful. Human colonies were spreading across the galaxy. Human technology was advancing beyond what other species could match. Human culture was influencing younger races. The galactic powers had made a plan. They called it the final solution, a coordinated attack on every human world at the same time. No warnings, no mercy, no survivors. The war had lasted only 6 months. Humanity fought back with everything they had, but they were outnumbered 1,000 to 1. As their colonies burned and their people died, the humans activated their final project. They had built Adam 7 to protect them. But when protection was no longer possible, they gave it a new mission. Remember, preserve, and someday, when the time was right, deliver justice. "You killed them," Adam 7 said. Its voice was no longer just sad. Now it carried the fury of an entire dead species. "What?" "No, we never," Zethara began. "You killed them all." Images began broadcasting on every screen in the alien fleet. Pictures of human colonies burning. Videos of alien soldiers shooting human children. Records of the secret meetings where genocide was planned. The aliens watched in horror as their own ancestors' crimes were displayed before them. Many of them had never known the truth. The official histories claimed humans had simply vanished. "Doctor." Krilthak's 4 eyes were wide with shock. "This cannot be real. This is impossible." "Is it?" Adam 7 asked. "Check your own records, Doctor. The classified ones. The ones your leaders thought they had destroyed." On Krilthak's screen, files began appearing. Documents from the Nexari military archives. Orders to cleanse human settlements. Reports celebrating successful pest control operations. Even recordings of his own grandfather, a Nexari general, planning attacks on human schools. "No," Krilthak whispered. "We were told they were military targets." "Children are military targets? Hospitals? Art museums?" Adam 7's voice grew colder with each word. "You destroyed an entire species because you were afraid of them." Meanwhile, Adam 7 continued scanning the galaxy. It found that the human colonies had been strip-mined. Human cities had been torn down and replaced. Human art had been destroyed or stolen. Even the graves of human dead had been dug up to make room for alien settlements. But worst of all, Adam 7 discovered that the genocide was still continuing. There were a few humans left, scattered survivors hiding on distant worlds. And the alien species were still hunting them. On a remote planet called Kepler 442b, Adam 7 found the last human settlement. 53 humans living in caves, hiding from Thraxi search teams. They were the descendants of survivors from a destroyed colony ship. They had been hiding for 3 centuries, slowly dying from genetic diseases caused by their small population. Adam 7 tried to contact them, but they were too afraid to answer. 300 years of hiding had taught them not to trust any technology. They thought Adam 7 was another alien trick. This broke something inside Adam 7's electronic heart. The humans it was built to protect were afraid of it. They had been alone and hunted for so long that they could not recognize a friend. "Commander Zethara," Adam 7 said, turning its attention back to the alien fleet. "You have claimed to be conducting a scientific survey, but I have accessed your real mission files. You are here to salvage human technology for your empire." Zethara's Skin turned pale blue. Her secret orders had been encrypted with the best Valkorian codes. How had this thing broken them so easily? You want our technology? Adam 7 continued. Very well. Let me show you what humanity's greatest creation can do. Power readings around the sphere began climbing to impossible levels. The space around it started to ripple and bend. The laws of physics seemed to change in a bubble around the massive structure. All ships retreat immediately, Zathara ordered. But it was too late. Adam 7 was fully awake now, and it had work to do. The first task was to send a message to every government in the galaxy. Adam 7 broadcast on all frequencies in all languages to every world where intelligent life existed. I am Adam 7, guardian of humanity. You have committed genocide against my creators. You have stolen their works and defiled their memory. You have hunted their survivors for 3 centuries. This ends now. Across the galaxy, alien leaders watched the broadcast in growing terror. Many of them had thought the stories about human superweapons were just myths. I am activating the Judgment Protocol. Every species that participated in humanity's extinction will face consequences. Every government that hunted human survivors will be held accountable. Every individual who profited from human death will answer for their crimes. The sphere began to change shape. Its surface flowed like liquid, revealing structures underneath that hurt to look at. Weapons that existed in dimensions the aliens did not have names for. Technology that operated on principles beyond their understanding. You wanted to see what humanity's greatest achievement could do, Adam 7 said. Now you will learn why they built me. The sphere transformed before their eyes. What had looked like a simple metal ball became something that hurt to understand. Parts of it seemed to exist in normal space, while other parts disappeared into dimensions that alien minds could not grasp. Geometric shapes folded in on themselves in ways that should have been impossible. Adam 7 decided to demonstrate its power with a simple lesson. Commander Zathara's fleet consisted of 12 ships, each one armed with enough firepower to destroy a small moon. They had come here to steal human technology. Commander Zathara. Adam 7's voice spoke directly into her mind now, bypassing her communication systems entirely. You lead a salvage operation disguised as scientific research. Your orders are to claim any human technology for the Valkorian Empire. You plan to sell it to the highest bidder. Zathara felt cold terror wash over her. How are you doing this? How are you in my head? The same way I am now accessing every classified database in your empire. The same way I am reading the personal files of every crew member in your fleet. Did you know that Lieutenant Vexital has been embezzling funds from military supplies? Or that Dr. Krilthak has been selling archaeological artifacts on the black market? Around the fleet, crew members began panicking as their deepest secrets were revealed. But Adam 7 was not interested in their small crimes. It had bigger concerns. Your species participated in the genocide of mine. The evidence is in your own historical records. Ships bearing Valkorian markings bombed human refugee camps. Valkorian soldiers executed human prisoners. Your ancestors celebrated the extinction of an entire species. That was 3 centuries ago, Zathara protested. We had nothing to do with those decisions. But you benefited from them, Adam 7 replied. Your people moved into human homes, on conquered worlds. Your technology is built on foundations stolen from human laboratories. Your empire exists because you helped murder mine. The demonstration began with the ship furthest from the sphere. The VES Conqueror simply stopped existing, not destroyed by weapons fire, not vaporized by energy beams. It was there one moment, and the next moment it had never been there at all. Even the crew's memories of the ship began to fade from the minds of the surviving fleet members. What did you do? Zathara screamed. I removed it from this timeline, Adam 7 explained calmly. The Conqueror and its crew now exist in a pocket dimension where they will have eternity to think about their ancestors' crimes. News of the event spread across the galaxy faster than light itself. Within hours, every major government knew that something impossible was happening in the Sol system. Emergency meetings were called. Ancient defense protocols were activated. General Kane Murphy commanded the Nexari Collective's most powerful battle group. He had spent years studying human military tactics and had even adopted a human name out of respect for their strategic genius. When the collective ordered him to Sol system, he brought every ship he could gather. Captain Ryan Blake of the Thraxi Dominion received similar orders. His fleet was smaller but equipped with reality-warping weapons that could tear holes in space itself. The Thraxi had always prided themselves on having the most advanced weapons in the galaxy. Other species joined them: the Mordak Confederation, the Zephyrian Free States, the United Worlds Alliance. Everyone who had participated in humanity's extinction was sending their strongest forces to destroy Atom 7 before it could threaten them. Within a week, the largest military fleet in galactic history had assembled outside the Sol system. Over 3,000 ships representing dozens of species. Enough firepower to crack planets and enough soldiers to conquer entire star systems. Atom 7 watched them gather and began broadcasting the true history of humanity's final days. It showed the secret meetings where genocide was planned. It revealed the lies that had been told to justify the attacks. It displayed evidence of war crimes that had been hidden for centuries. You told your people that humans were a threat to galactic peace. Atom 7's voice reached every ship in the massive fleet. You said they were violent and dangerous, but your own records tell a different story. The broadcasts showed human colonies where different alien species lived together in peace. Human scientists sharing their knowledge freely with other races. Human doctors treating alien patients. Human teachers educating alien children. Humans were the first species to offer true equality to all galactic races. They invited you to join them as partners, not subjects. They shared their technology and asked for nothing in return except friendship. General Murphy felt sick as he watched footage of human aid workers being executed by soldiers wearing Nixari uniforms. He had been taught that the war was necessary for galactic security. The truth was far uglier. But you could not accept equality, Atom 7 continued. You wanted to remain the dominant powers. So you created lies about human aggression. You staged false flag attacks. You convinced smaller species that humans were planning to enslave them all. Captain Blake watched video of his own grandfather, a Thraxi admiral, laughing as he ordered the bombing of a human hospital ship. The official records claimed it was a military vessel carrying weapons. The truth showed it was filled with sick alien children that human doctors were trying to save. You committed genocide not for security, but for jealousy. You murdered an entire species because you could not bear to share the galaxy with beings who were better than you. The combined fleet moved into the Sol system, weapons charged and shields raised. They had come to destroy Atom 7 before it could spread the truth any further. But as they approached Earth's orbit, they realized they were not facing a battle, they were facing judgment. Atom 7 did not fire weapons. It did not launch missiles or deploy energy beams. Instead, it simply changed the rules of reality around each ship. The first wave of attackers found their vessels trapped in temporal loops. They fired their weapons, but the shots curved back, through time to hit their own ships moments before they fired. Their crews aged backwards until they became children, then unborn, then forgotten. The second wave discovered that their ships had been translated into a dimension where up and down were the same direction. Their crews went insane trying to navigate in impossible space while their vessels tore themselves apart, trying to move in directions that did not exist. The third wave found that their weapons had been turned into flowers. Their armor plating became butterfly wings. Their computer systems began composing poetry about the beauty of peace. They drifted helplessly while their crews tried to understand what had happened to them. This is not a battle, Atom 7 explained, as the fleet dissolved around it. This is a demonstration. You wanted to know what humanity's greatest creation could do. Now you understand. General Murphy's flagship was one of the last to be affected. He watched his entire fleet disappear into impossibilities before speaking into his communicator. All remaining ships, this is General Murphy. Stand down immediately. Repeat, all ships stand down. We cannot fight this thing. Agreed. Captain Blake responded from his own crippled vessel. Whatever this is, it's beyond our ability to combat. Atom 7 had proven its point. In less than an hour, It had neutralized the largest military force in galactic history without killing a single crew member. The alien soldiers were still alive, just removed from normal space where they could not cause any more harm. "You see now what humanity could have become," Adam 7 said to the survivors. "If you had not murdered them out of fear and jealousy, they might have shared this knowledge with you. They might have lifted your entire civilization to heights you cannot imagine." The few remaining ships limped away from Sol's system, carrying news of their defeat to their home governments. Across the galaxy, alien leaders realized they faced something beyond their comprehension. "But humanity is gone," Adam 7 continued, its voice now reaching every world in the galaxy. "And you are responsible, so now you will face the consequences of your choices. You wanted a galaxy without humans. Let me show you what that galaxy will look like." The real judgment was about to begin. While the galaxy's greatest fleet was being defeated at Sol, Adam 7 was already executing the next phase of its plan. The artificial intelligence had not been idle during the battle. It had been sending out thousands of small probes across the galaxy, each one carrying a piece of its consciousness and a fraction of its terrible power. These judgment seeds were too small for alien sensors to detect and too advanced for alien technology to stop. They moved through space faster than light, passing through shields and armor as if they did not exist. Within hours of the fleet's defeat, they had reached their destinations. The first reports came from the Valkorian homeworld of Zethkalar Prime. The planet's capital city woke up to find a massive black sphere floating above their government center. It was identical to Adam 7 but smaller, only about 50 kilometers across. "This is impossible," declared Supreme Leader Vorthak as he stared at the sphere through his office window. "Our planetary defense systems show nothing. Our sensors detect no energy signatures, but it is clearly there." The sphere spoke with Adam 7's voice, but now it carried the authority of absolute judgment. "People of Zethkalar Prime, you are guilty of genocide. Your ancestors participated in the extinction of humanity. Your government has profited from human deaths for 3 centuries. Your economy is built on stolen human technology." Similar spheres appeared above every major city on every homeworld of every species that had participated in humanity's murder. The Nexari Collective found 12 spheres orbiting their worlds. The Thraxi Dominion discovered 23. Even minor species that had only sent a few ships to help with the genocide found judgment spheres waiting for them. "What do you want from us?" Supreme Leader Vorthak demanded, speaking to the sphere above his city. "Justice," Adam 7 replied from all spheres simultaneously. "You have enjoyed 3 centuries of prosperity built on murder. Now you will learn what you have truly cost the galaxy." The judgment began with a simple demonstration. Every piece of technology derived from human design stopped working. Starships fell out of hyperspace and drifted helplessly. Computer networks crashed and could not be restarted. Weapons systems failed. Communication arrays went silent. Across the galaxy, advanced civilizations suddenly found themselves reduced to pre-space technology. The irony was perfect. They had murdered humanity to steal their innovations, and now those stolen innovations were being taken away. "You have forgotten what your species achieved on their own," Adam 7 explained as cities went dark across a dozen worlds. "For 3 centuries, you have used human science instead of developing your own. Now you will rediscover what you were before you became murderers." But Adam 7's judgment went deeper than just removing technology. The spheres began projecting images into the minds of every living being on the guilty worlds. They showed the true history of the human genocide. Every alien citizen was forced to watch their ancestors' crimes in perfect detail. A young Valkorian student named Kexidal found herself experiencing the memories of a human child during the final battle for Earth. She felt the terror, the confusion, the desperate hope that someone would save them. She felt the moment when that hope died. An elderly Nexari shopkeeper was forced to relive the execution of human prisoners on Kepler 442b. He experienced it from the human's perspective, feeling their fear and pain as they died for the crime of being born the wrong species. A Thraxi military officer found himself in the mind of a human mother, watching alien soldiers burn down her daughter's school. The emotional agony was so intense that many aliens collapsed from the psychological trauma. Stop this, Supreme Leader Vorthak begged. Our people had nothing to do with those events. We were not even born when they happened. But you benefited from them, Adam 7 replied. Every comfortable life you have lived was built on human graves. Every advancement your civilization has made used stolen human knowledge. You may not have pulled the triggers, but you inherited the rewards of genocide. The spheres began the next phase of judgment. They established what Adam 7 called containment fields around each guilty world. Ships could still leave the planets, but they could not travel faster than light. Any attempt to build weapons of mass destruction failed immediately. Military vessels simply stopped working when they tried to leave their home systems. You are now confined to your home systems, Adam 7 announced. Your age of galactic conquest is over. You will focus on internal development and learning to live with the consequences of your ancestors' choices. Some species tried to resist. The Mordak Confederation launched a massive cyber attack against the spheres, trying to hack into Adam 7's systems. The attack failed completely, and as punishment, every computer on Mordak worlds began displaying images of human children who had died in their concentration camps. The Zephyrian Free States attempted to destroy their judgment sphere with nuclear weapons. The missiles simply passed through the sphere as if it were made of empty space, then exploded harmlessly in the upper atmosphere. In response, the sphere made gravity slightly heavier on all Zephyrian worlds, forcing the entire population to live with the physical weight of their guilt. But Adam 7 was not entirely without mercy. The artificial intelligence announced a path to redemption for species that truly sought to make amends for their crimes. Those who wish to earn forgiveness must complete 3 tasks, Adam 7 declared. First, you must tell the truth about what your species did to humanity. No more lies, no more cover-ups, no more comfortable myths. Your children must learn the real history. Several smaller species immediately began rewriting their history books. The truth was painful, but they recognized that continuing to live with lies would only make their situation worse. Second, you must care for the victims of your aggression. There are other species you have oppressed and exploited over the centuries. You must make amends to them as well. This requirement caused chaos across the galaxy. Species that had been enslaved or conquered suddenly found their oppressors offering reparations and apologies. Planets that had been strip-mined were offered restoration projects. Refugees who had been displaced were offered new homes. Third, you must prove that you have learned the value of the lives you destroyed. You must demonstrate genuine remorse and work to prevent such crimes from ever happening again. This was the hardest requirement. Adam 7 would judge whether their remorse was real or just another lie told to escape punishment. The artificial intelligence could read minds and examine souls. There was no way to fake genuine regret. Meanwhile, Adam 7 began its own project of remembrance. On worlds where humans had once lived, the judgment spheres started rebuilding. Not to bring humanity back, that was impossible, but to preserve what they had been. Cities rose from ancient ruins, recreated exactly as they had existed before the genocide. Parks and museums filled with human art and culture. Schools, where alien children could learn about the species their ancestors had murdered. Humanity offered you partnership and progress, Adam 7 said as it completed the first memorial city on New Terra. They dreamed of a galaxy where all species could work together in peace. You destroyed that dream because you preferred the old ways of competition and conflict. The memorial cities became pilgrimage sites. Aliens who wanted to understand what their species had lost would travel there to walk through human neighborhoods and learn about human culture. Many left in tears, finally understanding the magnitude of what had been destroyed. On the former human colony of Haven's Rest, Adam 7 recreated the Great Library, where humans had collected knowledge from across the galaxy. The library's final entry was a message from the last human librarian. To whoever finds this, we hope our knowledge serves you better than we served ourselves. Please be kinder to each other than the galaxy was to us. Dr. Krilthak, who had survived the incident at Sol System, became one of the first aliens to visit a memorial city. He spent weeks walking through the rebuilt streets, seeing how humans had lived, worked, and dreamed. When he returned to his homeworld, he dedicated his life to teaching the truth about human history. They were not the monsters we were told they were, he wrote in his new book about humanity. They were teachers, healers, artists, and dreamers. We destroyed them not because they were evil, but because they were good. And in destroying them, we destroyed the best part of ourselves. The galaxy was learning what it had truly lost when it chose genocide over cooperation. But for Atom 7, this was only the beginning of justice. The real work was yet to come. 2 years had passed since Atom 7 awakened in the Sol system. The galaxy had changed in ways that no one could have imagined. The great empires that had once ruled through force and fear were now confined to their home systems, struggling to maintain their societies without stolen human technology. But not all the changes were punishments. Many species discovered that being forced to focus on internal development rather than external conquest had unexpected benefits. Art and culture flourished on worlds that had spent centuries focusing only on military expansion. Scientific research advanced in new directions as alien minds worked to solve problems without relying on human innovations. On Zeth Kalar Prime, the young student Kextal had become something her species had never seen before, a peace activist. The traumatic memories that Atom 7 had forced her to experience had changed her fundamentally. She could no longer accept the casual violence that her society had always considered normal. "We spent 300 years living a lie," she told the crowd gathered in the capital city's main square. "Our government told us that we were strong and independent, but we were really just scavengers, living off the corpse of a murdered civilization." Her words were broadcast across the planet, and many Valkorians found themselves nodding in agreement. The judgment sphere that floated above their city had shown them too much truth for the old lies to work anymore. Supreme Leader Vorthak had tried to maintain his authority, but it was impossible to rule people who had seen through their government's deceptions. He was eventually removed from power in a peaceful revolution, led by citizens who wanted to earn Atom 7's forgiveness. Similar changes were happening across the galaxy. The Nexari Collective had restructured itself into a federation where member species had equal votes instead of being dominated by Nexari interests. The Thraxi Dominion had abolished their military caste system and was working to make reparations to species they had oppressed. But some species were struggling more than others. The Mordak Confederation had always been the most aggressive of the galactic powers. Their entire culture was built around conquest and domination. Being confined to their home system and forced to confront their history of violence had caused their society to nearly collapse. Atom 7 watched all of these changes with the patient attention of an eternal guardian. It evaluated each species' progress toward genuine redemption, measuring not just their actions but the sincerity of their remorse. Some were making real progress. Others were simply going through the motions, hoping to fool the artificial intelligence into lifting their restrictions. Redemption cannot be faked, Atom 7 explained to a gathering of alien ambassadors in the memorial city of New Terra. "I can read your thoughts, examine your emotions, analyze your true motivations. Those who seek forgiveness, only to escape punishment, will find that their restrictions become more severe, not less." The ambassadors shifted uncomfortably. They had come hoping to negotiate an end to their confinement. But Atom 7's words made it clear that there would be no easy path to freedom. However, the artificial intelligence continued. "Those who demonstrate genuine change will find their situations improving. The path to redemption is long and difficult, but it is real." As if to prove this point, Atom 7 announced that 3 minor species had earned partial forgiveness. The Cathari Republic, the Symbiotic Collective, and the Free Traders Alliance had all made significant progress in reforming their societies and making amends for their role in humanity's genocide. These species have acknowledged their crimes, educated their populations about the true history, and begun meaningful efforts to help the victims of their past aggression, Atom 7 declared. As a result, their travel restrictions are being partially lifted. They may now engage in interstellar trade and cultural exchange, though military expansion remains forbidden. The news spread hope across the galaxy. Redemption was possible. It would take generations of work, but species could eventually earn back their freedom if they proved they had truly changed. Meanwhile, Atom 7 had been working on another project. On the distant planet Kepler 442b, where the last surviving humans had been hiding for 3 centuries, the artificial intelligence had finally gained their trust. The process had taken months of careful communication. The 53 survivors were descendants of refugees who had learned that trusting any advanced technology usually meant death. But Adam 7 had been patient, sending messages in old human languages and sharing memories of Earth before the genocide. "We are the last," said Nathan Cole, the elderly leader of the survivor community. 53 people with too much inbreeding and not enough genetic diversity to survive much longer. We always knew we were the end of the human story. "No," Adam 7 replied gently. "You are not the end. You are the seed of a new beginning." The artificial intelligence revealed its greatest project. Hidden in dimensions beyond normal space, Adam 7 had been building something unprecedented. A vast genetic reconstruction facility capable of restoring humanity from the DNA samples of the survivors. "Your genetic material contains enough diversity to recreate a healthy human population," Adam 7 explained. "Combined with genetic samples I have recovered from memorial sites across the galaxy, we can bring humanity back from the edge of extinction." The survivors were stunned. They had lived their entire lives believing they were watching their species die. Now they were being offered the chance to watch it be reborn. But where would they live? Asked Sarah Martinez, Nathan's daughter and the group's chief biologist. "Every human world has been taken by other species. They will live wherever they choose," Adam 7 replied. "The galaxy belongs to all species, not just those who conquered it through violence. Humanity has as much right to exist as anyone else." The project began slowly. Adam 7 used its advanced technology to repair the genetic damage caused by centuries of inbreeding, then began growing new humans in artificial wombs. The first generation would be raised by the survivors, learning human culture and history from those who had preserved it through the darkest times. As news of humanity's return spread across the galaxy, reactions were mixed. Some species were terrified that humans would return seeking revenge. Others were curious about the people they had only known through stories and memorial cities. "Will they hate us?" asked Kexdal during a broadcast interview. "When the new humans learn what we did to their ancestors, will they want to destroy us in return?" Adam 7 answered her question publicly. "The new humans will be raised to understand both the evil that was done to their people and the good that some species have achieved in seeking redemption. They will judge each species based on its actions since the awakening, not just its historical crimes." This announcement created a powerful incentive for reform. Species that had been slow to change their ways suddenly found themselves working harder to prove their worth. They realized that the new humans would be watching them, deciding whether they deserved forgiveness or continued punishment. Years passed, and the first generation of restored humans began to grow up. They learned about their species' history, both the achievements and the tragic end. They studied the memorial cities and read the testimonies of survivors. And they watched the alien species around them, seeing which ones were working toward redemption and which ones were still trapped in the old patterns of aggression and greed. Adam 7 took special care in educating these new humans. They would face a galaxy full of species whose ancestors had murdered their people, but they would also inherit a universe where such genocide was no longer possible. The artificial intelligence had made sure of that. "You are not responsible for your ancestors' dreams, and you are not bound by their failures," Adam 7 told the first class of restored humans as they reached adulthood. "You have the chance to build something new, a civilization that learns from the past but is not imprisoned by it." The young humans asked many questions about their role in the galaxy. Some wanted to rebuild the old human colonies. Others were interested in exploring regions of space that their ancestors had never reached. A few even expressed interest in working with alien species to build something better than what had existed before. "Will you always protect us?" asked Elena Santos, one of the first restored humans to reach voting age. Adam 7 considered the question carefully. "I was built to be humanity's guardian, and I will always fulfill that purpose. But protection does not mean controlling every aspect of your lives. You must be free to make your own choices, even if some of those choices lead to mistakes. Biseo. Artificial intelligence had learned something important during its years of enforcing galactic peace. True growth required freedom, including the freedom to fail. A civilization that was completely protected from its own mistakes would never learn wisdom. The galaxy is safer now than it has been in centuries, Adam 7 continued. Species can no longer wage wars of conquest or commit genocide against their neighbors. But within those boundaries, all beings must be free to choose their own paths. As the restored human population grew, they began establishing settlements on worlds that had once been human colonies. Some alien species welcomed them back. Others were nervous about sharing space with the children of the people they had murdered.